Hello, fellow book loving friends. Thank you for joining me for Spill the Tea with Dee Book Chat. Go ahead and ring that bell and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss anything. My name is Dee Armstrong. Some of you already know me. I'm a romance and suspense author. My books leave a fingerprint on your heart. But I'm not only a writer, I'm a grandma, a teaholic, a gardening ninja, and I love to talk about books with my book loving friends. Pour a cup of tea or your favorite decaffeinated beverage. I don't judge. Unwrap some chocolate and let's chat. Today we're spilling on The Chaos Grid by debut author Lyndsey Lewellin. Welcome, Lyndsey. Thank you for joining us today.
Hi, Dee. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, I can't tell you. Now, I'm already a fan of Lyndsey's because I was lucky enough to spill on her mother's book. And her mother said so many great things about Lyndsey. She is sure that you have more hours in your day than any other human alive.
She would say that.
Because she does say that because she said that you can accomplish so many things. But tell our book loving friends a little bit about you.
Sure. Yeah, I'm a YA sci-fi author, and I am also a mother of five. I am a farm wife. I create book covers for novels. Yes, I do lots and lots of things. That's just a little bit about me. My debut novel's coming out, or just came out. So,
The Chaos Grid, and it,
yes.
it was so much fun. And I mean, you have you said you had 5 children, right?
Yes, five
Five,
kids.
5 kids. My heart goes out to you. You are one brave woman. Her mom is a best-selling author, and I can see Lyndsey popping up into that category really, really quick. How did her being an author influence you?
Oh, definitely. My mother, she always had a saying when we were younger growing up. She said, when one goes to the store, one must always stop by the books. And she lived by that. So we would go to the groceries, we stop by the books. Or we go to the mall, we stop by the bookstore. So she really had a strong influence on the value of fiction and the value of reading in my life. Now, I grew up dyslexic, mildly dyslexic, so I
Uh-huh.
tended to gravitate more towards comic books because they had pictures with reading. But she was like, no, you need to try more actual novels. And so she got me into the Scarlet Pimpernel when I was younger.
Oh
And
yeah.
it was sword fights and it was romance. And I was like, I keep reading the same paragraph over and over, but I'm going to get through this. And so through perseverance, I just started really enjoying reading. And she would drag me to conferences. And yeah, she was very, very influential in my writing career for sure.
And she is such a wonderful woman, just like you are. I mean, you can tell when you talk to someone that they have a big heart, and both of you ladies have huge hearts. And I really appreciate you being here with me today. Now, you kind of covered it a little bit. You have another JOB that
Yes.
deals with books. Tell us about that.
Yes, and that actually I can attribute to my mother as well. I was working in a real estate office for a while and just trying to make enough money to get by. And then the housing market went crazy, and so they let me go. Thank the Lord. And my mother, she said, "I'm going to start indie publishing my romance novels." And I said, "Oh, well, okay." She's, "You need to do my covers for me." I said, "Well, I can do some graphic art. I've never done a book cover." But she said, "You can do it." So I was like, "Okay."
Mhm.
So I started making book covers for her, and then her books started doing really well because not only was it the
Mhm.
book cover, but the writing inside. And so
Mhm.
her friends started asking for book covers, and then my name started getting out there. So it became a full career about close to 13 years ago. So
Oh my goodness, I didn't realize it's been, you look so young.
yes. Oh,
you know,
thanks.
love that you look young. Keep that, that works. That will pay off as you age, believe me. Um, Now you also in your book covers, you draw some of your book covers. Is that right?
Yes. So I do mixed media for some covers where I'll take a stock image and then I'll manipulate it through Photoshop to make it look how the author would like. But then I also hand draw, but it's through a tablet. I have an art tablet and
Hmm.
I can hand draw my characters and such on that. And so I offer both illustrated and photo manipulated. So, mhm.
You have talent just coursing through you. And I love that, through not only through the visual, through the art, but also through the words. And I think that's just wonderful. I have book loving friends. Say hello in the chat. So we'd love to know that you could join us. It's always more fun when you guys ask questions and comment. Lyndsey's going to do something special for us today. She's giving away to one lucky winner a signed copy of the Chaos Grid for free. And I love your cover on that. I love her hair
Yeah.
swishing to the side and she's in movement. It's just a beautiful copy. I mean, look at that cover. It's beautiful. Just beautiful. The blue hair. I have to admit, I did kind of want a little bit of blue in my hair after that book. It's like, that is cool. I love the coolness of it. Oh, Kathy says that she loved the Chaos Grid. She doesn't normally read sci-fi, but Lyndsey has won her over. Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you, Kathy.
I do really appreciate that. As always, I have a signed copy of one of my books to give away to one lucky winner too. But how do you win? In the Facebook chat, down in the Facebook chat or on YouTube, there's a link that will enter you to win an autographed copy of our books. Plus, there's also a link where you can sign up for our newsletters. Let's stay in touch. That way you'll know about future Spill the Teas, about Lyndsey's book reviews, book releases, and book news, and about mine too. So stay in touch. Join our newsletters. Now, this is one of my favorite parts. I'm going to make Lyndsey blush by sharing how absolutely fabulous she is. The reviews are in. Kirkus Reviews calls The Chaos Grid a dystopian thrill ride. Wall Street Journal and best-selling author Kathleen Baldwin says, not since Frank Herbert's Dune series have I enjoyed an alternative universe as well as I did the unforgettable, sometimes frighteningly, completely fascinating world in Lewellin's The Chaos Grid. And then I always like to pick a review from a reader. So a reader, Susie, said, I have no words, none. She put that in, I have no words, none. I love it. All I can say is I hope there is a book too. So let's talk about The Chaos Grid. This book is the first installment of the adventures for Juniper Conway. Set in Texas, 200 years in the future in 2224. It's really hard to say that. 2224. Mankind's attempts to control nature go horribly wrong, and Texas is a wasteland. As a child, Juniper witnessed her parents murdered inside Plex City Dome. And now 17, Juniper, also called Juna, joins a shipping crew fearless enough to transport food across the outer grid. She discovers amazing hybrid animals that are dangerous, wild, and beautiful. And the same could be said about the leader of the shipping crew, Dex, because we do like Dex.
Oh, yeah.
In her adventures, she discovers a new family in the crew, and that the Plex is endangering its citizens. It's the orange. What's it called?
The orange pipe. Yes.
The orange pipe. Thank you. Is endangering its citizens by legalizing the deadly nano drug, and only she can stop them. Now, Lyndsey, how did this idea come to you?
Oh, yeah, it's a wild idea, isn't it? I think,
Lots of fun.
Oh, yes. I was driving in traffic in DFW, and it was very hot, and there was a long line of traffic trying to get to my job. And I thought, what if all of these cars weren't here, and nobody traveled anymore on these highways, and maybe the only people who did were the shipping crews because they had to travel long distances. And I thought, what kind of a world would it be like if everything was kind of like a wasteland, but here in Texas? And people lived inside domes instead. Why would they do that? Maybe they had instant teleportation inside the dome, so they had no need. They just lived there. And they loved their tech. It kind of reminded me of like the space race where everybody was trying to get out of outer space. And I thought, well, why isn't anybody trying to get into outer space anymore? And then you look around, you see people are on their phones or they're into their own tech. And I thought, well, what if the world continued like that? And nobody cared about the outside of the world. They only cared about what was going on inside their cities with their own tech. And so that's kind of where the idea came from.
I love it. Your world is one of those worlds when you're reading where when you close the book, you still feel like you're in that world.
Yeah.
And that's a skill, and that was a beautiful skill. I also really like the contrast between the high-tech cities and the low-tech outer grid. I'm a grandma, a Lolly is my name. And when the grandkids look at a cassette player and they say, "I don't know what to do with this," you know what I
Yes.
say? I really loved Jennifer looked at it, she's like, "I don't know how to open that door," because it didn't open for her,
Mhm.
And I thought, well, if they got so dependent upon tech, that's the way it would be if they went someplace that didn't have it. And I loved the contrast of being in the fun, neat stuff inside the domes, and then when you went out, her perception of the low tech stuff. That was really fun.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
and so when you were thinking that up, how did you? What brought you to doing that? What gave you the ideas of doing the low versus the high tech?
Oh, it was really hard sometimes because I'm so used to kind of like an in between techs, like super high tech and then low tech. And I was like,
Hmm.
I have to think like her. I have to think like her. And sometimes my sons help because, we'll be in a car. And if it's a really older car and you have to roll down the windows by hand, they're like, "What? How do you even roll down the window? I can't. Where's the button?" Um,
Hmm.
and when they were younger, they would say, "Okay, pretend like you're on the phone." And when we were younger, you would hold your
Hmm.
hand up like you're on the phone. Well, they would hold their hand up to their face. I said,
Hmm.
and I never told them to do that. They just started doing that. I said, wow, this is so weird. And so I would try to focus on that every time she was in, like, like they don't have cars. So
Hmm.
she's never been in one. What is it like for her? And so I had to try to be consistent as much as possible in her point of view, as she's learning the low tech world. So it
Hmm.
was a kind of a challenge for sure.
Well, you handled it beautifully, and not only did you handle it beautifully, but it brought a lot of fun for the reader to see it through her eyes. I also really enjoyed how Juniper built her team for taking on the bad guys, the orange pipe. From the people on the crew to the crazy animals that she gathered up. I can see the future books and how she's going to have this team there with her to defeat them. So I really enjoyed that. Let's talk about the characters. Now we have the main character, Juniper Conway or Juna.
Mhm.
I like how she was low tech, or as you call her, a basic, but
Yes.
she blends in, dyeing her hair blue. Some of the characters had a futuristic high-tech anime feel to them, like Juna's friend Astora Kinsley or Tori, with
Yes.
her cotton candy pink curls and blunt straight bangs.
Yes.
Um, and what kind of a friend decides to take on the outer grid with you? Yeah, girl, I'm in. Let's go out into the hot space where there's animals that can eat us.
She is quite the character, that Tori. Yes.
Yeah, she was fun. I really liked her. She was really great. And then we have
Mhm.
Dax with
Yeah.
his curly hair, chiseled face, and mysterious glasses. And he's the leader of the shipping crew, not by age, but by respect.
Yes.
And I loved that. I loved how he was by respect.
Yeah.
Kathy says the story is riveting and the writing is gorgeous. It
Oh,
was
thank you.
gorgeous writing. It was gorgeous writing. The crew is a fun combination of men and women. We have the Quell, which is like the police of the outer
Mhm.
grid, and they're the do they police in the Plex too, right? Not just the outer
No,
grid?
just the outer grid.
Just the
Yes.
outer grid. Okay. And we have a run-in with one of the agent leaders of the Quell, a female that's part robot, part human, but has been upgraded until she's just barely human now.
Yes. Hmm.
Just barely. So now is when we find out who was your favorite character. And I get to say mine first because
Okay.
I don't want someone to steal my favorite character. So I want to get it out there. My favorite character, I mean, of course, there's the main character, but
Mhm.
I try not to, I never pick the main character because I try not to. Mine was Mala Suerta. Did I say that
Oh,
right?
yeah, Mala Suerte. Yes.
Mala Suerte, the bad luck beard. bad luck bird. Sorry, the bad luck
That's
bird.
okay. Yes.
A grid beast, not just any beast, has firecrackers for feathers, not one, but two heads. Heat radiates off its feathers like they're actually on fire. And he
Yes.
bonds with the main character and causes havoc in her life and her plans. I
Yes.
loved that. I loved it when he poked his head between her legs, like, hello, I'm here.
Yes. Kind of like a cat. He's kind of
Yes,
cat-like in that.
yes. Yeah, he was adorable. I loved him. Now, I know you're not supposed to have favorites. Like we're not supposed to have a favorite child or anything like that. But, Lyndsey, who was your favorite character?
My favorite is Milo for sure. He is so fun to write. He's kind of got diarrhea of the mouth, I guess. So he says whatever pops into his head, and if I wanted to move the plot along, I just stuck him there, and he just says everything. The other characters, you really want to make sure that they're saying something that seems very natural to the character. That if there's somebody who's tight-lipped, you don't want to just spill everything. So it's going to be difficult to get the plot to move forward sometimes. But with him, he just says it. And he's so fun. I would look at my word count and go, oh, yes, he's on the scene. Look at that word count.
I love that.
be him.
I love that. I love the name Milo. I have a nephew named Milo. And also that is a name of one of the kids in my book. So when I saw Milo, I was like, I love that name. And he was cute too. He's, he has to be cute to go with that name.
Mm-hmm.
Did any of the characters surprise you by taking over the story or taking it in a direction you hadn't planned?
Oh, that is spoilery filled, so I can't answer the honest. I'll answer the second character who surprised me. I would say, probably Juna herself. She would do things that I would say, wow, okay, we're doing this. She has a lot of conflict in her where she doesn't want to do things, but her sense of morality pushes her to do it. And so I'll put her in a situation. I'm like, okay, she's not going to do anything here, but then she'll do it. And I was like, okay, I guess we're just jumping in on this. So she's definitely a risk taker. And so things that I wouldn't do, she does. And it kind of scares me sometimes. While I'm writing, I'm like, I don't want to do that. That's too scary. I have to do a lot of research for that. And that's very scary. But she's like, let's go. I'm like, okay, I'll follow you. So yeah, probably her.
And the neat thing about her also is not only was she a go-getter who really cared about the other characters, but she had a conscience. She had a heart. She put herself second to other people. And I really, really liked that. All right. So this one, what made your heart race? And picking out a spot in this book that made my heart race was hard because of the number of twists and cliffhangers in the book. I wasn't willing to pick just one because I wanted everyone to know the book makes your heart race. It pulls your heart along. You're like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So it was great. But it's not over the top. It was a fun adventure, fast paced. And I know people say that a lot. Oh, the book was fast paced. This book, when I finished it, I read this book in 3 evenings.
Oh my,
and usually, yeah. So that means it was fast paced. Usually, some books you can take a week to read. But no, this was 3 evenings. I was done. And if I could say one thing about the book is this book was fun. I enjoyed the characters, the world, and the journey. It was a lot of fun. I need to check the comments real quick. Another one commenter says, one of the many bits I highlighted I look out. Oh, she liked this. I looked out of the snow-covered wasteland. Bubblegum sunlight reflects off its swirling surface. And they said, yes, it was fast-paced for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So I didn't pick a favorite part, but I'm going to put you in the hot seat.
Mm.
Did you have a favorite part that made your heart race?
Oh, again, I'm not going to say my favorite. There's just so many spoilers on that. But second favorite, there is an obstacle course type event that happens in the book that definitely was very fun to write. I'm a Ninja Warrior fan. I don't know if you ever heard of American Ninja Warrior. So I really wanted to have that kind of element in the book somehow. I was like, I'm going to put it in there somehow. I'm not exactly sure, but I want it in there. And so that was a lot of fun because I did a lot of research on what kind of obstacles were authentic and she could really do. I didn't want anything that didn't seem like possible, but at the same time, super fun to read. So lots of fails and successes and more fails. So it was a lot of fun.
It definitely was. I really liked that part because you put an added layer onto the obstacle course when you had it have a I can't think of the word, where it was like a movie was playing over it.
Oh yeah, the vert course, yeah. Holographic.
Yeah. Holographic, that's it, thank you. It was a holographic course, and I was like, oh wow, that's really cool. That's really cool. And I like that. Now, my favorite part was when Juna dives into the water to save a character named Glowin, even though there's an invisible water beast called a Vorgel in the water. Now, I'm not going to say any more about it, but I thought that was not only brave, but I was like, what are you doing, girl? Oh my gosh, we're doing this. She went down and she was going for it. It was very, very, it reminded me of Harry Potter, you know, when they were in the water and trying to breathe during the quest. So I did like that. I liked that a lot. Now, this first book was an installment on Juna's adventures. Have you started plotting the next book, and what can we look forward to?
So the Chaos Grid was contracted as a standalone. So yes, that is by itself. Have I plotted the next books? I don't know. Perhaps we will see what happens.
Well, you have to because we want more of her. So, all right, everyone, please email her and tell her to start plotting. Get your typewriter out. I'm sorry. Get your laptop out. Start plotting.
I'll have to go really low tech for the typewriter. Yeah.
I know. I'm showing my age here. Now, awesome writing alert. Now I'm going to spill on some beautiful writing by Lyndsey, and here are a few of my favorite. He slaps Dax on the back and grins so wide that I can practically count all his pearly whites. My fists clench. Pearly whites, I'll gladly knock out one by one if something has happened to Tori. Forget the stack. Forget Milo. I jump up to my feet and run.
Yes.
I love that. My pearly whites, I'm going to knock out. I cross my arms and push my heels down until they are one with the concrete. I'm not going anywhere until he answers me. I mean, I could feel that pushing your heels, digging your heels in. What a great way to bust the cliche of digging your heels in. I push my heels down until they are one with the concrete. I thought that was okay. Now I'm a writer. I get into this stuff. This is me geeking out on the writing. As I feared, a webbing of blue light sparks in and out of focus. Hexagonal patterns ignite across the morning sky on a transparent canvas. Like a blanket of electric rain, it begins to descend towards the ground. I loved that. I just loved it. Okay, I'm not done. I have more.
Oh.
So this is how I'm going to die. Like a bug squashed under the city's boot. With one last gulp, I twist my hair. I twist into my chair, preparing for bone-crushing pain.
Yes.
I love it. Okay, I do have one more. Okay. The female-shaped robot wastes no time approaching us. There's something printed in bold white lettering across its collarbone. Evlon 6. It might be the name or title, as none of the others have writing on their bodies. I stare at my reflection on its slick crimson helmet. I wince. The petrified look on the girl staring back at me isn't doing me any favors. Bringing my shoulders back, I try to put on my best "I'm not afraid of you" face, and I seem a smidge tougher. The Quail agent doesn't flinch. I loved that. I love that writing. I love that writing, girly. Now we're getting to the book giveaway part. Just a friendly reminder that we are giving away not only free books, but books signed by the authors. Enter in the show link notes. And then I'll announce the reader in our Book Loving Friends Facebook group, and have you message me your address so that we can mail the books to you. Now, why spill the tea? Before we end, I'd like to share with you why I started Spill the Tea. I want to grow as a writer, and part of that journey is reading books written by other people, reading great writing, sometimes extraordinary writing, writing that crawls inside you and becomes a part of you. I could have read the books by myself and said, yeah, that was awesome, but I wanted to share with my book-loving friends and have fun with it. If you enjoyed Spill the Tea today, share, like, tell your friends, because books are more fun when they're shared with someone you love. Our next Spill the Tea is on May 15th at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard. We are reading and spilling on Invincible by Kay Brooks. And I'd like to thank you, Miss Lyndsey, for joining us today. Thank you for a wonderful ride into the colorful world. This is going to be my quote for you. That's a hybrid between Jurassic Park and a futuristic filled with color and incredible creatures that would put Willy Wonka to shame.
Thank you so much for having me, Dee. I had a blast.
Thank you, girl. And yeah, honey, get writing. We're ready for your next book, okay?
All right.
I'm kidding. Love you to the end of the world. All right, everyone. A huge thank you to all of you tuning in and chatting with us about great books. You're the best. As always, you'll find me writing on the porch. Hugs. Bye for now, everybody.
Bye.